Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Demetrious Johnson, and you're listening to MMA Latest News.com.
It's time to roll, baby.
How are we today?
I am absolutely fantastic, Johnny. We're going to be in a little bit of a debate today about power versus skill. And we're coming off a weekend where skill well and truly touched. Tyson Fury defeated Deontay Wilder in an absolute spectacle of a fight. I was overjoyed. I know you were too.
Right, so let's get to the nuts and bolts. The reason why we've set up this show, the debate, is for us to debate everything. And what we really want to get into is power versus skill, like you just harped on about, James. Does skill pay the bills, or will power bludgeon you to death? Not to death properly, but...
I mean, it does take twists and turns, doesn't it? This weekend, skill well and truly paid the bills. Tyson Fury absolutely dismantled Deontay Wilder in such an easy fashion. And it begs the question, how did Deontay Wilder even get to this level? Of course, it is just that one asset. It's power. Against Luis Ortiz, who had far more skill than Deontay Wilder, it was power that triumphed that night.
41 knockouts in 43 fights.
But when it gets to the absolute pinnacle, when you've got the biggest puncher in boxing history, you've got one of the most skillful heavyweights in boxing history, it was skill.
So it's a debate that we can go on, because when you talk about raw 100% power, things that springs to mind is Brock Lesnar against Frank Mir. Brock Lesnar, absolutely, the first fight, just completely destroyed Frank Mir, battered him, pummeled him. But Frank Mir, somehow, out of the depths of God, got a heel hook and submitted him. So power does come into the equation. For me, I'm a skill man. Skills pays the bills. I've always believed that. There's no if, buts, or maybes. I 100% believe that. But when you bring power to the equation, you've got to take it seriously. Blachowicz against John Jones. Blachowicz.
Luke Rockhold was a perfect demonstration of power, probably versus against skill.
So again, you have that matchup against John Jones. It's power versus skill. Yes, he will get absolutely the technical side will get scored, but if he lands that one big shot,
that puncher's chance, isn't it? That you get in every fight.
That's it. Puncher's chance. I like that, Mitch.
One of the biggest standout fights in UFC history for this was Miocic versus Ngannou.
Yep.
And people forget that Miocic carries incredible amount of power himself. But his wrestling background was enough to see him through against Ngannou. And Ngannou was a man who carried freak power. I know he has the record.
To rewind,
has he got the hardest punch then?
He's got that on the machine, hasn't he? On the power cube, is it?
Deontay Wilder's hit that machine, but either way, Ngannou's power is.
Ngannou's like 60 pounds heavier than him as well.
Absolutely dismantled by Stipe Miocic that night.
And you got to say, you rewind that event a month, and he obliterated Alistair Overeem with that power. So it just shows the difference of what it does. You got the skill. You got the skill of Miocic, who, he dominated him for 5 rounds. Now, I do think Ngannou was getting that fight too soon. It was almost like he was riding the coattails of beating Overeem so abruptly that he got the title shot.
Yeah, but it's you say he's too soon, but is he ever going to improve drastically? Whereas technical ability is going to be on the technical level too.
Tough because he joined the sport very late. He's 34, 35, I think he is now.
Yeah.
So he's still quite.
A leopard never changes sport, so it'd be stupid to go into a sport at 30, at the back end of 30 years of age, and to think you're going to technically.
Well, he wanted to start boxing, didn't he? He walked into a gym in France, wanted to be a boxer, and he was hitting the pads very well. And they said, you've probably got a good chance at MMA now. He's dug sand mines, I believe he did.
He did. He was working very hard.
And that's going to build some power into you.
It's going to build some power, and let's be honest. Alistair Overeem is a K1 kickboxing world champion. He has far more skill than Francis Ngannou, but Ngannou found that right hand.
Yeah.
And right hands can be so scary in fights, because people who hit like who hit like Wilder,
4-ounce gloves,
scary for every single second of a fight. Whereas if you're skillful, you're not necessarily.
Well, look at Khabib Nurmagomedov. He hasn't got the biggest power in him, and you look at him against Conor McGregor, who's definitely got more power in his strikes than Khabib has. But Khabib's got a better skill set in terms of the wrestling is so much.
No, but McGregor's better on the feet. Wrestlers always carry that power because it's the explosive nature. Like you never see a wrestler who's not strong or who's not got that explosive power. You show me one. It's physically impossible for you to get someone down and to shoot in. You have to be physically explosive. It's all about. So you'll see wrestlers, the big guys, they're explosive. They always carry an overhand right hand. Dan Henderson, Khabib, Faber.
Well, heavyweights are renowned for good wrestling in MMA.
Yeah. Heavyweights, but when you take in the aspect of the 4-ounce gloves, it makes a tremendous difference. The power. If you get clipped, if you get clipped with 4-ounce gloves on by someone who can punch, you're going to get put to sleep. For me, it depends in the context of a fight. Skill versus power. Mayweather, skillful boxer. Golovkin is powerful. But for me, what can mature that is if you have power and you have a bit of skill as well. Like if you have a bit of power and skill and you can put that together, that's an unstoppable formula.
that is unstoppable. And
have we seen that though?
I don't think you've seen someone who's perfectly powerful and
who we got? Who can you
Dan
think
Henderson?
of? Dan Henderson,
Potentially.
Very powerful, and power's obviously different because you get people who are incredible punchers. But aren't the most powerful. Like Deontay Wilder isn't the strongest person.
No.
Tyson Fury had more power in terms of pushing him back, and that's what, for example, you talked about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was never a huge puncher, but he was so powerful.
So big, and he's a freak of nature, isn't he?
You can't say he's not a huge puncher. When he
wasn't.
plunged.
Well, his one punch knockout power doesn't stand out.
Against his wrestling, like his wrestling
It's
is
Yeah,
his
but
wrestling,
the
it's
ground
his
and
power,
pound. His ground and
Even
pound
then,
was
his
just.
grounding pound was very
Right,
uncoordinated.
let me tell you
hammer
something.
fist.
You need to go back. Brock Lesnar's ground and pound is absolutely. I've never, apart from maybe Ngannou, I've never seen anyone who brings ground and pound to that. He blungered you to that. Look at the size of the bloke. I've never seen ground and pound. But technically, all right, okay, we're not seeing the best, but I've never seen a demolition.
Okay,
what that
I give you.
Flawless.
I give you.
What I'm saying is one punch power.
Yeah,
There's
but he
better
has
operators
that.
out
He
there.
just can't deliver that one punch
Okay,
power because he's not.
I give
technically
you
good enough.
a
Do
potential.
you understand me?
What is your definition of a better skillful opponent? Like, is it having one aspect that's very good? Like, you could say Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, or Rousey versus Holly Holm. Rousey's a better skill set fighter in what she does, but and you could probably say Nunes is definitely a more powerful fighter in the striking.
Yeah.
And, we saw the way that went.
I think in this generation of fighters that we've got now, you can't be a specialist. You need to have a bit of everything. And the specialists that we've seen,
Khabib's getting better striking, so he's
the
not.
likes of Ben Askren, for
Look at
example.
Adesanya,
you can't
John
just
Jones.
have one element of your game
No.
you're good at. You need to be good absolutely everywhere. And we're getting to a place now where people aren't coming into the sport off the back of boxing or kickboxing.
They're
or
doing
wrestling or
mixed
jiu-jitsu.
martial arts
They're
as a-
doing mixed
as a
martial
whole.
arts.
That's the thing. They're not growing up from a wrestling background or a boxing background. They're growing up at doing wrestling, doing MMA, doing Muay Thai. So you're getting this hybrid. I think Jones was probably the first one who's getting it to this generation where
And he
you're having
started.
a
How young did
hybrid
he
of
start?
athletes.
Obviously, he came to the UFC at 21, 20.
Still, he was quite
What?
late.
No,
John Jones.
he would trained in. He instead of just training in one aspect, he trained at everything. So he was a decent boxer.
Was he about
decent Muay
17,
Thai
18 when
fighter.
he started training?
Yeah. So now, because you have so many gyms now with because the back end of this MMA has blown up. How many MMA gyms have we seen?
Well, look at the size of
Manchester was
ATT and
alone.
AKA.
But look at local. Look at in England. There was a time where there was one MMA gym or one show. There's a show every week. There's gyms opening up every few
UK's
months.
got its own UFC gym now down in Nottingham, so it's got its
Yeah, but
own
in Ireland as
MMA
well.
gym.
No, but every gym has an MMA gym.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
That's just for marketing. And again, another
no,
marketing.
but the fact that
thing
the
from
UFC has said right, we want a gym in the UK
No, it's
and rebuild
it's
it.
just a franchise. It's an MMA gym, like Predators, SBG, and Manchester Top Team. There's no difference to that. It just had the UFC name on it. But what I'm trying to get at is that there's more MMA gyms. So when you go into these MMA gyms, you are taking a jiu-jitsu class, you're taking a wrestling class, you're taking a boxing class. So if you're doing that at 10 years of age, when you get to 20, 19, you're efficient in those areas where back in the day, you're starting out at 20.
Well, especially from the UK, you would have been going in as a striker.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is back in the day, you'd start at, 15, 16? Sometimes people started at 20, 25, and they're catching up. They've not got that 10 years previous of marging everything together. I'm sounding really good. I'm actually impressed with myself. I'm liking this.
So if you are an operator and you're stepping into the cage or the box ring or whatever you're doing, would you rather go in there knowing that you've got one punch knockout power that can end a fight any second, or go in knowing you're the more skillful operator?
Well, probably the most skillful, 'cause then at least you know you've got different aspects of how to win the fight. Now, I was thinking of this question earlier. Would you rather fight a Demetrious Johnson-sized Ngannou or an Ngannou-sized Demetrious Johnson? Because Demetrious Johnson's probably one of the most skillful fighters we've seen. Would you rather
I'd rather fight flyweight, I'll be honest.
So you'd rather...
I don't want to fight Ngannou.
No, okay. So you'd rather fight Ngannou's power at a flyweight.
But he's not going to happen
Yeah.
now.
I'd rather fight a midget than a Demetrious Johnson-sized heavyweight.
No.
You're trying to get me killed, Mitch. I mean, at
I'm just
least...
saying, like...
It doesn't work because you're never going to get a flyweight that hits hard like Ngannou. So it's the sort of thing you
That's
can't
when you
debate.
do it-
But I
when
understand what you're trying to
Yeah,
say.
what would you...
About what would you come across? Well, It's like, for me, I think it's like that debate is when you see a guy in the street, you have a guy and he looks nasty. It's like the bully from school,
Yeah.
looks tough.
But then you got the quite
and you
small,
have the-
skinny guy.
You have the quiet, small guy. For me, I'm scared of the small. I'm going to think
gonna
of the
wrap you
small
up.
guy, because the small guy who doesn't go around talking, thinking he's hard.
They'll let him play
wrap you-
Warhammer at lunchtime. So you've got to watch out for.
Yeah. And what is
definitely.
that? What you said?
Oh, it's
Warhammer.
Some
it's
PC
one of
game.
those games, isn't it? I mean, I
I've
don't
heard of
really
it.
understand
Oh yeah,
it.
figurine game.
Like Dungeons and Dragons and all that sort of
Yeah.
world. It's not really my thing.
But anyway, skill versus power. Do you reckon? Is there many times where it hasn't worked in terms of the skillful fighter lose? Okay.
Yes,
no,
of course we
Deontay
can.
Wilder's beat
Yeah,
42 fighters
Frank
who are more
Mir,
skillful than him.
Frank Mir, how we just said, the first fight, skill came to the forefront and he won, but the second fight he got hammered.
Yeah, that's
Lucas
true.
Brown, 30 years old, not brilliantly technically, won fights, beat Ruslan
Wilder,
Shaggy off
we've
the
just
back.
debated this. Deontay
Off
Wilder's
power.
made a career on
Yeah,
power.
power.
Like power, you always when you've got power, you've always got a chance, no matter who you fight against. Like you said, it's the puncher's chance, where it doesn't matter if you're losing every round. If you're getting beaten up, it's a different story. But if you're losing, you've still got that in your locker where if you land something, then you can win the fight. Like there's a saying where I think Deontay Wilder said it, that he only has to be switched on for 2 seconds of the round, where skillful fight has to be switched on for 36 minutes or 25 minutes in an octagon. You only need that 1 second, and you have to be switched on when you're fighting someone with power. I always think I'm not a fighter, but if I was a fighter, and I know fighters, I think they prefer to actually fight a powerful fighter than a skillful fighter, because there's more ways to win, and you switched on, you've got that adrenaline, you know that you can't switch off. If you're fighting a ferocious puncher, in your psyche you know that you can't switch off, where if you're fighting someone who's not got that much power, sometimes I might switch off, coast a few rounds, and you can end up getting caught or getting beat. So I think when you're fighting that power, it's that danger, it's that adrenaline. You're worried, you're thinking, right, I've got to be fucking switched on for every second of every minute of every round.
So I'm going to put you two in the ring for a second here.
Okay.
You've got a choice.
Is it a boxing ring or
Boxing
MMA?
ring.
A wrestling
MMA,
ring?
whatever you want.
Yeah.
What do you want?
You can pick your own discipline.
Either. Let's go with the question
I
first.
mean, you've got to have a
We'll
fighter
choose
who's
after.
way more skillful than you, or
Yeah.
a fighter who's way more powerful than you. Which one would you rather take on?
That's interesting. That is
Tough question,
interesting.
isn't
It
it?
is.
That's what you're thinking.
Because I'm thinking the power.
You're going to beat that Michael.
The power
Go for it.
would be a good fight, but if there's probably in the back of your head, it's like if I get hit here, it's over. Whereas the skillful fight would probably be a more fun fight. Like some of the best, like the flyweight and the bantamweight division have such good technical fights where it's actually probably more enjoyable to fight or enjoyable to watch and probably to fight actually. But there's just I don't think of getting hit by Ngannou or Wilder or somewhere like that. It's terrifying. Yeah,
You've got the worry going in that you're going to be on the highlight reel.
yeah. And it's like,
So Stipe Miocic,
like Ben Askren's on that, and and then you got the other side. We got John Jones, Israel Adesanya being that skillful, creating those highlights. So you can go either direction, but I think I'd probably prefer to fight the skillful fighter just because it'd be more enjoyable.
What about yourself, Johnny?
I would prefer to. It's a context. Like I said, if they're bringing power and skill, then it's different. If it's just power, then I would 100% rather fight someone with power than someone who could outskill me in every department. Because that's a problem. If someone's technically better, then you can't get near them. Like, look at Mayweather. Anderson Silva made a career. When you're fighting Anderson Silva, you don't know what John Jones at his best. You don't know what they're going to do. They bring unpredictability. You're thinking, should I shoot him for the takedown? If I'm shooting for a takedown, I'm going to get kneed. If I launch in with a jab, I'm going to get taken down. If I dip my head, I'm going to get head kicked. So you're always constantly, that pressure of constantly thinking, hold on, I can't get close to these people. I think that's more overbearing than going in against someone with power, because you know how to defeat that. There's a blueprint how to defeat someone with power. Create angles. What Dominic Reyes did for 3 rounds against Jones. Create angles, offset people.
Yeah.
But
then
I think that for me, I'm going to take the powerful person.
Then you got to
every
look
day
at
of the week.
fighting Demetrious Johnson, Dominic Cruz, all these technically gifted fighters that you have who have perfected their craft over many years. And you've got Tony Ferguson in jiu-jitsu. That he's not powerful, but that skill was terrifying.
Skills,
and you got
pays the
Justin
bills.
Gaethje on the other
That
side of power,
skill
probably.
might be able to negate the powerful takedowns of Khabib and Magomedov.
Yes, but
No.
Well, we're going to find out.
it's the elbows that will do damage, I reckon. out of anything. And that, again, that's probably skill
He's
against
a mad
power.
genius, Tony Ferguson. He's got that sort of. He's not as charismatic as Tyson Fury, but he's got that mentalist type.
Did you see the video of him doing the tire run?
He's just mental.
I've seen him do like mad like backflips.
5 weeks out of fighting,
Like
please.
you see anything that's like ridiculous on social media, and people will like say Tony
That's
Ferguson has
Tony.
24 hours to respond.
Yeah.
He's just a ridiculous human being.
I love Tony Ferguson, but for me, it's the skill and power. Khabib brings that skill, but he brings the power with it. He's very, very skillful at what he does, and he's very, very powerful at what he does. So it's a perfect formula. Against when Ferguson fought Kevin Lee, he was taken down a few times. I don't see how he can, off the ground or what. Yes, he may be effective for 2 rounds, but that goes out the window after the 3rd, 4th, 5th round because you
Freak
take
fitness.
Yeah,
but
ridiculous.
I think when Khabib's on top of you, he lets you up and he takes you down again. It is good fitness, but you're going to be less dangerous in the 4th and 5th.
It'd be interesting to see what
championship
happens when both are tired, and if Khabib does get a takedown and he does get opened up,
He will.
what happens then?
You've got to remember that Tony Ferguson is working with a genius in Eddie Bravo. In terms of
A crazy genius who's just on par with
on
Tony
par.
in craziness, but he's an absolute legend at 10th Planet and what he's doing.
He
I
is.
mean, Eddie Bravo was talking about the game for last night. He said, we're going to take Khabib to places he's never been to. We're going to see so many different traps.
Vice versa.
Well, this is it. Khabib, we know what he's going to do to an extent.
Yes.
Whereas Tony Ferguson,
There's
you
no-
don't know until they know.
But I think you have to look at, sometimes you have fighters who are that good. They're the best. They're like once in a generation fighter. And Khabib is a once in a generation person who brings that wrestling. It's not just someone who's good at wrestling. He has got that nailed down to a T. And I can't see with him being on top of Tony Ferguson. Yes, he might catch him early on with a few strikes. He might try and get for a few submissions. But once he blunges you, Tony Ferguson's a human being and your flesh can only take so much. When you take that ground and pound consistently for 3-4 rounds, you slip here, it's hard to get triangles. I just think he's going to get bludgeoned and bludgeoned,
Yeah, and
bludgeoned.
Tony is the type of guy to just wrestle Khabib.
He'll get
He's
fucked
mental.
up.
He's absolutely, he's ridiculous.
I think he's going to
Yeah,
get fucked
I think there's a
up.
good chance we get a doctor stoppage. Either
Yeah.
way.
I'm not confident picking either man yet. I think it's a
No, it's way
fantastic
too
fight.
soon. We have to get
And
past.
I think they're two of the greatest lightweights to have ever done it.
Okay, here's one. We got next week Adesanya versus Romero. Skill versus power.
Adesanya's got the more skill in terms of the striking department.
Who do you think comes out on top?
Romero has far more power in the striking department. Romero is obviously a wrestler, extremely powerful, but far more skillful. This is an Olympic silver medalist, and people often forget how good a wrestler Romero is because he
doesn't use it, does he? He doesn't use it that much.
He should have.
Well, I think again it's the context of who he's fighting. Like I said, once in a generation fighter. Adesanya, he brings that height and that weight, and that's always a problem.
He's almost like a carbon copy of
always a
Anderson
problem.
Silva. You can tell
when
he was a
you're
fan
that
of
big,
it.
you can launch strikes at a range where you're it's like a false sense of security. When you're fighting the fighter with so much range, you think you're out of range. When they do little things where they're in range and they'll attack you when you're not expecting it, and you can't do that. Romero won't be able to attack Adesanya the way.
But then if he just hits him or he launches that flying knee like he did against Costa,
The one punch knockout.
look what he did to Weidman.
Exactly. Romero has to come in wearing a singlet. Basically.
He has to make sure he makes weight
Robert
first.
Whittaker beat Romero because he has incredible takedown defense.
Yeah,
One
but
of the best in Australia.
Adesanya doesn't.
Australia isn't renowned for.
No, but Adesanya has looked good in takedown defense.
Not to the extent that Robert.
I mean,
This is a man
did
who was in
Gastelum take him down?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, took him down
Let's
early.
face it, Robert Whittaker's a lad who was in the Commonwealth Australian wrestling team. He's got very good takedown defense. If Romero gets hold of Adesanya, and it's an if because Adesanya will look to keep it.
I hope not. I really hope
won't
not.
be able to stop Yo from taking.
I think Adesanya wins comfortably. It could be an all-out war, but I think he just wins
I
comfortably.
think it could be fun. It's got
it's
the
got
tendency to be like
unpredictability.
Romero, Whittaker. It's got also a tendency to be like Gastelum.
Could be a dogfight.
Adesanya.
It could end up an
I hope
absolute
so.
battle.
But
to the end.
the closer we get, I get nervous.
Would love a dogfight.
I get nervous
He
for
wants to take
Adesanya now.
Adesanya out of his technical
That's what he
element.
wants. Take him out of his rhythm. If Adesanya controls the pace and pops him off and
Stays
keeps
at
him at
distance.
range and pops him off with leg strikes, elbows, and keeps him at his range, then he will win comfortably. It won't be competitive.
What-
If Romero can get in like a dog, get a few takes down, headbutt him, cut him open, elbow him, stop his breathing. You don't see that much anymore in MMA. When the wrestler is on top of you, they actually put the glove on top of your mouth. It's basically a form of
It's like
suffocation, but it's legal and it's stopping you breathing. If he can make it dirty and messy and get a cut and make it a dogfight, then it's interesting.
Yeah, and he just, you know, you can see. Look at the size difference. I don't know how they're the same weight class.
It's ridiculous.
Well, Romero is the biggest 185 I've ever seen. I know Israel Adesanya is a very, very tall man.
Yeah, he's tall and
but
quite,
he's far smaller.
Yeah, and the talk that he's going up to 205 is kind of not worrying. Be interesting.
Anyway.
Could be a heavyweight. It'd be a good heavyweight, but it's interesting.
Did you see the little dance off there at the press conference?
That was
Izzy
incredible.
tried to mug him off and
Yeah, you know what?
dismantled
To be fair, Izzy was someone that came under pretty much hot water this weekend after it, because they had another press conference.
Yes,
he made some 9/11 comments.
9/11 joke, didn't
which he said that he's
What
going
did he say?
He said
Romero will crumble
like the Twin Towers, which is
Why would you say that? I mean, what the fuck? Why?
You know,
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Why did people say that? I'm not seeing
you know, yeah, he got quite a bit of backlash. He's apologised and he's done it.
I mean, that is. But I'm not being funny. If Tyson Fury said that, he'd be told to leave the sport.
Yeah, but he's kept some dignity with the way he's handled it.
Dignity.
With the way he's handled his response was quite dignified.
You don't say that. I mean, you have a brain cell. Why the fuck would you say that?
And he is a smart guy as well.
I mean, that is just absolutely ludicrous. Why the fuck you would say
he's
that?
clearly made a mistake.
Yeah, he said it off the cuff and it didn't land.
It's not even funny though, is it?
No,
it's not, and I didn't chuckle.
No.
Obviously, everybody's allowed a second chance. I don't want it to be something that ruins the man's
No, definitely not.
It's just silly. It's just
something considering he's done everything up to this point pretty much almost perfectly. He's had that one blip now.
I don't like. I just think it's not funny. It's not clever. And but is it enough to ruin his career? No. It's just a not funny joke.
Yeah. One thing I do want to question is what's probably better longevity-wise of their career, skill or power? Because obviously your skill you can craft, but there's probably going to come a time where those skills you're just not able to complete them. Whereas you might still keep that power.
Deontay Wilder's had a lot of longevity because nobody feels safe enough to put it on him.
Yeah.
So even though he's had so many fights and he's been losing so many fights, he isn't that old a fighter. It's only this weekend the first time he's taken a real pace.
Yeah.
So
and he's had 44 fights now, hasn't he?
Prevented him from being in wars.
So they say the last thing that leaves you as a fighter is your power.
Yeah.
They do say that your skills do fade because you become
can't train
slower.
anymore.
You become slower. Your flexibility goes, your dexterity goes, everything goes down. But the last thing to leave you as a professional fighter
look
is
at
that power.
Dan Henderson and people like that. Your heavy hitters.
Henderson, you'll always. But the problem is that when you get that old, can you be technical enough?
And then you got Floyd Mayweather, who's still as skillful as he was 20 years
history.
ago.
At 46 was still causing problems. He very nearly won a world title at 46 years ago.
Yeah, but then you look at the likes of Luke Rockhold, who's a skillful fighter. Anderson Silva came to his time. He's got injury after injury now.
It's like your superpowers. It's like your superpowers are your skills, or your speed, and it's like once they go.
Chuck Liddell.
Where would Superman be without his superpowers?
Should be Clark Kent.
Batman.
He doesn't have the money Batman does.
I never watched Batman or Superman, but you'd assume that Superman.
Really?
I've not seen it, but you've
never watched any of it. What are you talking about?
That's a new
You've
debate.
never ever seen a Batman film?
No. I've not seen Batman versus.
No, that's crap. I'm talking about Batman.
Oh yeah, I've seen Batman films.
What's your favourite Batman?
Not brilliant on names.
Dark Knight trilogy. Just say
Dark Knight Rises. I fucking love that film.
The one before
I used
that.
to watch religiously, and it came out like 2002, something like that.
That was Mr. Freeze.
Was it the Riddler? I don't know.
Yeah, that was Mr. Freeze and the Riddler. That was
anyway, back to power versus skill.
No. Back to Superman and Batman. Power versus skill. Superman and Batman. Power versus skill. You've got the skill.
Yeah.
You've got the power of Superman,
versus
and then you've got the skill of
street fighting.
The street fighting.
Royalties of Batman.
Who wins that fight? Break it down.
I think doesn't Batman kill him,
or
the other vice versa. I'm pretty sure he has a.
Yeah, but Batman's a real person. Batman doesn't have superpowers. He's just a rich guy who's got loads of money. You can has gadgets. Superman is an actual has his power. Is he can like lift planes up and he has a superpower. Am I wrong? Does Batman have a superpower?
I mean, he can make the world spin.
Who?
Superman.
Yeah, Batman can't.
Fantastic example of power versus skill. Yoda. If we're going to take it to the Star Wars.
Oh, not.
Don't talk. Hate Star Wars. Hate it.
Yeah. I'm out of this
One of the
one.
most skillful operators I've ever seen.
I hate it. Hate Star Wars.
And Darth Vader's the power, is he?
Darth Vader comes. Well, he never fought Darth Vader. You've got to think about who fought who. But
Yes.
Yoda seriously had some talent.
What about horror movies? Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. Have you ever seen them films?
Yeah,
Who wins that fight?
Well, Freddy Krueger's an
He
imaginary
got done in
person.
by Leatherface with chainsaw.
No, he's not an imaginary.
Well, you only dream about him.
Right, but if they were dreaming and they were having in the octagon or the ring, Mike Myers or Freddy Krueger.
Well, the only way Freddy Krueger wins is if Mike Myers dreams about him. So
I think Myers takes him.
work.
I think Myers jabs his head off.
You're missing the point, mate. Stop ruining my illusion.
We're trying to make analogies here.
I know, stop
I know.
So, right, Freddy Krueger
Myers keeps him at bay with a jab.
comes in with a knife later on.
Yeah.
Right, okay, on that note, it's an interesting debate. Hit like, subscribe, follow us on Insta, Twitter, or socials at MMA Latest. We've got My MMA Memories coming out this week. We've got fantastic footage with SBG Manchester, head of Cage Warriors next week, so tune in. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.